The green light flashes at the start-finish straight for the final concluding chapter, and we have got a drama for Carl Clibort on the start-finish line. So DD2 Masters, Rotax Max Challenge Golden Trophy, Euro Golden Trophy. Let's have a look at the grid. Morgan Riche will lead the field from pole position, the 5:15 representing France. Sebastian Humpelhardt from Germany in the 5:09 lines up alongside on the front row. Switzerland and Cyprus on row 2 with the 5:07 of Alessandro Glauser and the 5:32 of Dennis Valentin Sturm. Row 3, it's Michael Becker from Germany in the 5:26, and representing Denmark, it's Robert Schlunsen in the 5:22. Slavomir Miransky from Poland in the 5:41. We'll have Christophe Capitain from France alongside in the 5:02 on row 4. Unfortunately, no Carl Clibort on the inside of row number 5, but Christophe Adams will start from 10th, representing the Netherlands. James Beecroft from the UK 11th. Fritz Sai from Estonia in the 5:51. Ian Gepps in the 5:67, ahead of Tom Dessert in the 5:30, both from Belgium. Nicolas Mazinas from Lithuania starts 15th in the 5:14, ahead of the 5:23 of France's Bruno dos Santos. Thierry de Jong in the 5:88 from the Netherlands. Peter Gyurtai from Hungary in the 5:85. Jörg Müller from Germany in the 5:16. Maxim Shaposhnikov from the Russian Athletic Federation in the 5:77. And Thomas Piet starts from last on the grid in the 5:50, representing Germany. So 14 minutes on the clock, plus an additional lap to conclude what has been nearly 7 hours of racing over the last 2 days. The red lights are on the starting gantry for one final time as we bring the Rotax Max Challenge Euro Golden Trophy to a close. Morgan Riche and Sebastian Rumpelhardt lead the field out of the final corner. Revs start to rise. The Rotax Max Challenge Euro Golden Trophy DD2 Masters Final is off and underway. And through into turn 2, there has been a touch, and Rumpelhardt off the circuit, going through into turn 2. And it was two's company, 3's a crowd. And Morgan Riche is in the lead of the race as they head into turn number 6 for the first time. Jörg Müller sweeping wide to the outside of turn number 6. As they make their way through into the Europalan off of turn number 7. Thomas Piet trying to get stuck in there as well. Rumpelhardt now has to start fighting back through the field because he was probably one of the other drivers apart from Alessandro Glauser, but keep your eyes on the driver in third place. That looks to be Robert Schlunsen. Schlunsen up from 6th to P3. Drivers make their way through turn number 12 and onto another lap we go. Lap 2 underway. Morgan Riche battling away with Alessandro Glauser. Robert Schlunsen was a further half a second adrift, but he is starting to catch. Morgan Riche is the fastest driver out there. 55.879 seconds from the French driver in the 5:15. But he's keeping it on the racing line, keeping his cars close to his chest. He's not going to allow Alessandro Glauser an opportunity to get past if he can afford it. So a few drivers already making up positions. Jörg Müller now up into 14th. Christophe Adams up into 10th place. So after Sebastian Humpelhardt's tumble down the order, the Germans got a lot of work to do. As now the top 4 start compacting as Ian Gepps gets up the inside of Christophe Adams, who's being followed by Tom Dessert. Glauser is thinking, well, discretion is the better part of valor in this race, and what's more than likely truthful is you don't want to start making overtakes at this point. You just want to put the pressure on as Glauser goes sideways, nearly hits the back bumper of Morgan Riche going into turn 6, and now he has to defend against Robert Schlunsen. and Dennis Valentis Storm. So now that becomes the battle for P2. This could allow Morgan Riche to scarper away into the distance like he did all of yesterday on the heats and also in the pre-final as well. We're into turn 10. And Sebastian Humpelhart now past Maxim Shaposhnikov in the 5.77. And now is closing in on the likes of Peter Gyutai. As Dennis Thurm now gets past Robert Schlunsen, but Schlunsen has other ideas to go back up the inside, tries to launch an attack through turns 1 and into 2, but the Dane has to hold back, and there is James Beecroft. Unfortunately, the Brits in the 5.17 out of the race on lap number 2. After what was such a dynamite performance in qualifying from the Brits, he now has to sit by the sidelines and watch, I'm afraid. Dennis Thurm being hustled by Robert Schlunsen going through turn 8. And Slavomir Maransky is also chasing them down. Just under 10.5 minutes remain. It is still very much to play for. But some of these drivers won't give up. I know Slavomir Maransky is made of stern staff, as is Robert Schlunsen, as is Dennis Thurm. So Schlunsen will try and see if he can get the run coming out of turn 6 down the Europolan. Maransky will also get the toe from the Dane. And Schlunsen towards the inside of turn 7. Up into P3 goes the 5.22 from Aris competition. Now they've got to start chasing down Alessandro Bauza and hopefully try and put the frighteners on Morgan Riche. Morgan Riche has been very much untroubled so far this weekend, and that trend looks to continue. Christoph Adams and Ian Getz have been swapping positions. Christoph Adams running in 9th place. Fastest lap now set by Michael Becker, who is in 7th and is within 2.5 tenths of the driver in front, and that is Christophe Capitain. Well, he got past Pritsai on the previous lap. Five minutes down, 9 to go, plus 1 lap. So 2 retirements. Unfortunately, James Beecroft on lap 2. Carl Terbot before we even got going. Sebastian Humpelhart now up into 15th position and climbing. And Humpelhart has been setting personal bests, has been running in the 54.8 second bracket. As Bruno Dos Santos has been battling away with quite a few drivers, including Nicolas Mazinis from Lithuania. 8.5 minutes to go. There's still no sign of drivers that are going to really push the envelope, but Alessandro Bauza has tried to claw back some time from Morgan Riche and has done so by about half a tenth as Michael Becker up the inside of Christophe Capitain. That is for 6th place on the road. Pritsai is just behind them. Jörg Müller's having a good race at the moment. The German in the 5.16 now up into 11th position, and he's about 3 tenths off of Christoph Adams, who rounds out the top 10. And Jörg Müller is bringing along Tom Dessert for the ride in the 5.30 from Belgium. But it's a lot closer than it has been all weekend long. Tom Dessert giving Jörg Müller the hurry up through turn number 12. 7.5 minutes remain of the race meeting. Thierry de Jong past Nicolas Mazinas. Sebastian Humpelhart now past Thomas Piet for 13th place. And we'll start chasing those in front. And the next one will be Tom Dessert. Jörg Müller takes a look over the left shoulder. He's closing in on Christoph Adams. And that's the battle for 10th position. still having some good battles up and down the order. Now I've just noticed that Robert Schlunsen has just put in the fastest lap of the race. 54.470 from the Dane. And on the last lap after that, 54.5. So now Slavomir Miransky has been passed by Michael Becker in the meantime for fifth position. Christophe Capitan is trying to chase them down in the 5:02 entry. And the top three last time around, of the completion of lap 8, we're now on lap 9. It's just under 9/10 of a second. So 8 minutes have been completed. And still, the strategy games play out right in front of our own eyes. Good to see Jörg Müller running in the 54.6s. He's trying to close in on again on Christoph Adams for 10th place. But Morgan Riesch has got a half-second lead over Alessandro Glauser. Robert Schlunsen was a 10th quicker than the Swiss driver last time around and is about 3/10 adrift. So Robert Schlunsen just chipping away at the time gap between himself and Glauser, and through into turn 6. Schlunsen gets a lot closer. Now in the slipstream, heading into turn 7. He can size it up either at one or two places on this circuit, down the Europolan on the next lap, or through turn number 12. But those are the most obvious opportunities. Maybe Robert Schlunsen is thinking, maybe I can do it somewhere where Alessandro Glauser is not going to expect a lunge from me. And that is the thing. Robert Schlunsen is within lunge range of Alessandro Glauser as they go through turn 12. Schlunsen is about 2.5 of a second behind Glauser in the battle for P2. Schlunsen was close under braking through on that particular occasion on the start of lap number 11. Stranger things have happened. Mikolas Mazinas in the 514 from Lithuania, unfortunately, I think has retired from the race. So down from 21, we go to 18 drivers still out there. Morgan Riesch really hasn't had to expel any major energy here in the final because he's kept a consistent pace, running the 54.6s for the last 2 laps. And then some. Michael Becker still fastest out there overall, 54.410. Schlunsen is within a 10th and a half, and is he going to go for the move up the inside of Glauser through turn 2? He does. The Dane gets through and now hits the apex nicely for turn 3. Now I did say Morgan Riesch will probably have to watch behind, because now that Robert Schlunsen has got a bit of clean air, the only thing from a disadvantage for Robert Schlunsen is that Alessandro Glauser is pretty much there. Michael Becker, in the meantime, has gotten past Dennis Valentis-Thurm for 4th place. So Becker hits 4th, Thurm in 5th. Wolansky still sitting and holding station in 6th place. Head of Christophe Capitan, pits side. In gets Christoph Adams, still ahead of Jörg Müller, but the gap last time around was just 4 3/4 tenths of a second. So Morgan Riesch has a comfortable lead of nearly 1.3 seconds as we enter into the last 2.5 minutes of the race meeting and of the weekend, plus an additional lap. Michael Becker looking to try and strike whilst the iron is hot and go for 3rd position ahead of Alessandro Glauser. Got to be careful of where he does it and when he does it, just so at least Alessandro Glauser does not have an opportunity of getting back at him. Becker looking rather cool and metronomic in true Teutonic fashion. And Glauser now pulls to the inside, knows that Becker is quick, and Becker looking around the outside. Can he get the switch back through into turn number 3? He's going to go for it. And oh, he tussles with Alessandro Glauser, and over the right side pod goes Michael Becker. And Becker has just thrown it all away at a moment's notice. As we've also got yellow flags, we've got a driver, that's Thomas Piet, I believe, on the outskirts of the exit of turn 12. So Michael Becker provides drama and pulls, and that has called time. I'm not at all surprised. Michael Becker throwing the race gloves into the seat. And that is his weekend over and done with. And Alessandro Glauser, because of that damage, is now slow. And Glauser knows he can't carry on. The drama between those two have changed it all, because Morgan Riesch now leads. Robert Schlunsen rounds out the top two, and rounding out the top three, it is Denis Valentis-Sturm from Cyprus. Moransky in fourth. Christophe Capitan now having a ding-dong battle with Pritsai, who sends it up the inside, does the Estonian. As we head into the last 50 seconds. So, Carl Klebot out, James Beecroft, Nicolas Mazinas, Thomas Piet, Michael Becker, and now add Alessandro Glauser to those names. A real shame for the 507 and the 526, who were doing really, really well, as Jörg Müller now finds himself still battling away. He's been trying to close in on Christoph Adams, and it's not going to be a battle for 10th place anymore. It looks like it's going to be a little bit higher than that, because Pritsai confirmed in 5th as we go on to the penultimate lap of the weekend, and also of the Rotax Max Challenge Euro Golden Trophy for 2021. 38 races, nearly 7 hours of racing action over the last 2 days, culminate in this moment. And Jörg Müller now is battling, well, has been battling away with Sebastian Humpelhardt, who has got past. Now, I have seen the medical crew just go down the into Parc Fermé. The timer hit 0 for the 38th and final time this race weekend, as Morgan Riesch gets the sign. The Frenchman on course for the clean sweep of race victories this weekend, 1.2 seconds ahead of Robert Schlunsen. Denis Sturm in 3rd. Slavomir Moransky rounds out the top 4 ahead of Pritsai, Christophe Capitan, Christophe Capitan, Ian Gepps, Christoph Adams, Sebastian Humpelhardt, Jörg Müller rounds out the top 10. Tom Dessert, Bruno Dos Santos, Thierry de Jong, Peter Gyurtai and Maxim Shaposhnikov still are circulating. But we concentrate on the race leader. He hasn't put a foot wrong through the heats, through the pre-final earlier on today. And now one final champion for the Golden Trophy will be crowned, because out of the final corner, it's celebration time for Morgan Riesch from France. Robert Schlunsen takes P2. Denis Valentis-Sturm takes 3rd ahead of Slavomir Moransky. Morgan Riesch has done the business. 5 wins out of 5. And now it's a slow trundle to scrutineering. As the darkness, the sun is starting to set, the floodlights start to light up. It's a somber moment. We do have one more order of business, but Morgan Riesch, it's sinking in, isn't it? Félicitations, monsieur. Bien roulé. Well done. Well driven. Now, Morgan Riesch makes his way through into turn 10, followed by Tom Dessert, as the drivers make their way into scrutineering for the final time this race weekend. Let's have a look at the results for the DD2 Masters Rotax Max Euro Golden Trophy final. Morgan Riesch wins by a comfortable 1.68 seconds ahead of Robert Schlunsen. Denis Valentis-Sturm rounds out the top 3, representing Cyprus ahead of Slavomir Moransky and Estonia's Pritsai. Christophe Capitan 6th, Ian Gepps in 7th ahead of Christoph Adams, Sebastian Humpelhardt, Jörg Müller rounds out his return to karting with a top 10 finish, ahead of Tom Dessert, Bruno Dos Santos, Thierry de Jong, Peter Gürtay and Maxim Shaposhnikov. Unfortunately, due to the contact between Alessandro Glauser and Michael Becker battling over for second, they were eliminated on lap number 13. Thomas Piet retired with a mechanical on lap 12. Retirements from Nicolas Mazinas on lap 8, James Beecroft on lap 2, and Carl Klebot unfortunately had to sit by the sidelines.